what you want, what you want.
So this crazy month of October, in which we've seen new devices from Apple, Huawei, LG, Xiaomi, Razer, it's finally over and Huawei has the last word. We have here the Honor Magic 2, and yes, it is a slider phone. Let's rewind a bit and look at the unboxing first. So the Magic 2 has this really glossy back with a camera module, triple camera system that looks just like the Huawei P20 Pro's layout. So right here you have some instructions and papers. A USB-C cable. This is a dongle because there is no headphone jack. And you have a 40-watt fast charging brick. So I'll go over the specs really quick. It runs on Kirin 980, so that's that same 7nm chipset powering the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. It's the most powerful Android chipset right now. It's better than the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845. So you have a 6.4-inch OLED display that gets plenty bright with very little color shifting, almost no color shifting to be honest. And there's an in-display fingerprint reader. So the Magic 2 has either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, with either 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage, depending on which configuration you buy. But you guys are not that interested in that. You guys are mostly interested in this, the slider. And yes, it feels just as satisfying sliding up and down on this as the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. There's a really nice tactile and audible click every time you slide the device open. And it's really amazing that Huawei managed to pack an in-display fingerprint reader into an OLED panel that's relatively thin. Although I believe this is thicker than the display panel on the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. Unfortunately, I don't have the Mi Mix 3 on me right now, so I can't do a side-by-side comparison because the devices that Xiaomi let us test, that was a pre-production unit that they had to take back. So no YouTuber out there has the actual Mi Mix 3 yet. And there's a 3400 mAh battery inside this device. So I know that's a little bit smaller than the batteries on the Huawei Mate 20 series, but 3400 mAh is no slouch. It should still power this phone all day. So moving to the back, you have this really shiny, glossy back, almost like a mirror. So you have a 16 megapixel main shooter, a 24 megapixel monochrome sensor, and the third camera, it's a wide angle lens, just like on the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, just like on the LG phones. And you guys know me, I love wide angle lenses because it just allows you to get that much more into the scene. But now you move to the front and you see there's an earpiece right here, and you see there's actually 3 selfie cameras. So yes, technically the Honor Magic 2 has 6 cameras. That is crazy. That one-ups the 5 cameras of the LG V40. But now I gotta call Honor a little bit. I'm not sure why there's really a need for 3 cameras, because the main sensor, it's a 16 megapixel sensor and it works very well. Shutter speed is fast. Images come out pretty crisp. But the other 2 lenses, they are 2 megapixel lens. So I'm assuming they're depth sensors. Now I've asked Honor why we need 2 depth sensors along with a main selfie camera for selfies. Honor hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I'm pretty sure they'll say it has something to do with the 3D face portrait depth sensing. And to be honest, I'm not sure we need it. The Google Pixel 2, Google Pixel 3 has proven that you can take selfie bokeh shots with just one selfie camera. And even if you really need additional camera for depth sensing, I think a second camera is fine. I don't really know why you need 3 cameras. So to me, the 3 cameras on the front seems to be a little bit of a gimmick. But the triple camera setup on the back, it's definitely justified and very useful. So even though there is no dedicated telephoto lens, you still have a 2x digital zoom and it looks pretty good. And then of course, obviously you have that wide angle lens that just allows you to get that much more into the frame. So now we'll look at some quick photo samples. You know, photos are about on par with a top of the line Honor device, meaning it's very, very good, but still a notch below the Huawei flagship. So, but taking photos in a day, you're not gonna have any issues at all. Everything comes out sharp, everything comes out vibrant. So now you're looking at the 16 megapixel selfie camera. You know, selfies come out very sharp, very crisp. There is obviously that Huawei beautifying filter that smooths out my skin a little bit. It makes me look a little bit fake. I look a little bit more rough in real life than this. These are filters that you can apply. And then right here, you see, so this is why I don't know why we need 3 selfie cameras, because this portrait lighting shot still doesn't turn out that good. The iPhone 10 can do better without 3 selfie cameras. And one other thing, the wide angle lens on the Mate 20 Pro actually allows you to get really up close to a subject, so you can take macro shots. Unfortunately, the Honor Magic 2 loses that ability, so when you go to wide angle lens, you can't really get that close. And you know, with a neural processing engine inside, this phone can recognize scenes and objects, and it's really fast. So in selfie mode, it knows when I'm taking a selfie inside a room or outdoors, and then when I'm using a main camera, it can tell the difference between plants, food, drinks, cats, and even like the type of building. Like you see right here, it can tell it's looking at like a pagoda looking building. So you jump into Honor's camera software. It's very similar to Huawei's camera app, except Honor gives you a little bit more these like fun features for young people. So you have this AR lens here, which allows you to put a little 3D figure onto the scene. You know, it's a little bit janky sometimes, but when it works, I think it's pretty funny, especially when I put stuff on top of the cat. So you can cycle through all the camera modes. You have your photo, portrait, aperture. I really like aperture shooting because it allows you to adjust the blur in real time. And then you go to more, and that's where you have a flood of options, including light painting, monochrome. So this camera still has a monochrome lens, so it should take really stunning black and white photos. And you have night mode, which is something that Huawei introduced, and then now all these other brands including OnePlus and Xiaomi have followed. It basically uses AI to allow you to take long exposure shots without needing a tripod. So let's check out a video sample. This is shot in 1080p, 30 frames per second. So the Honor Magic 2 has AI stabilization, and it works pretty well. So now let's look at 4K video recording. The Honor Magic 2 unfortunately cannot shoot at 4K 60, so 4K 30, it's the highest you can go. So you see stabilization takes a slight hit in 4K 30. Still relatively smooth, but there is a little bit of that micro jitter. So you might have noticed I'm using swiping navigation right now, and I really like Huawei's implementation. It's better than what Google's offering, basically. So you swipe from the edges to go back. This is very similar to what Xiaomi is doing also. And then you swipe from the bottom to go home. And then, of course, you swipe up and hold to bring up app overview. So, you know, since this phone has Kirin 980, I've seen absolutely no performance issue. Whether I'm playing graphically intensive game like Mortal Kombat or Breakneck, everything has been running fine. The GPU on this is super powerful, so all the graphics on this are on the highest setting. Okay, so let's do a video test. So you do have sound coming from the bottom speaker grill and the earpiece up top, but the sound coming from the earpiece right here is very faint. So that means if you cover the bottom grill, you almost muffle the sounds. The max volume. So, you know, overall there's a lot to like with the Honor Magic 2. I really love this form factor. And, you know, I don't mind a notch normally when I use a phone with one. But whenever I use a phone without a notch, I'm reminded, wow, this is what an immersive screen looks like. Video just completely feel edge to edge. The sliding mechanism feels very good. The whole phone just feels very nice in the hand. Now, there are some nitpicks. There is a little bit of a camera bump. The Huawei Mate 20 Pro doesn't have it. So when you put the phone down, it wobbles a little bit. And on top of that, there is no headphone jack, but at least you do get a dongle. There's no wireless charging too, but again, you get fast charging out of the box with the charging brick. But ultimately, it's hard to judge this phone yet because I don't know how much this thing costs. Honor hasn't told me the price yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be at least $300-400 cheaper than the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. And if that's the case, then I think the Honor Magic 2 makes a very compelling case. In fact, it almost makes the Huawei Mate 20 Pro not worth getting unless you have a lot of money to spend, unless like saving $300-400 it means nothing to you, because day-to-day performance is going to be the same. If you're using Instagram, Facebook, sending emails, sending chats, it's going to be the exact same performance for both phones because they run on the same chipset. So the only time you're going to see a performance boost is endurance. The Mate 20 Pro will last longer because it has a larger battery, and the camera is a little bit better when you're taking macro shots or in difficult lighting, like challenging lighting situations. But that's for power users, that's for extreme, like heavy duty users. For the average Joe, for the normal person, the Honor Magic 2 can do everything the Huawei Mate 20 Pro can at a much cheaper price. Now, I don't know how this phone's pricing compares to the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. To be honest, I'm pretty sure the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3 will be a little bit cheaper, and that phone has wireless charging too. But the Honor Magic 2 is a more powerful processor. The Kirin 980 is better than the Snapdragon 845, and you have a third camera, wide-angle lens, that is genuinely useful. So this is the Honor Magic 2. I will be back with more. Thanks for watching.